starting lineup tonight?
Yep. We'll have one. You'll find out when Raymond announces it in about an hour or so, or something like that.
Mullin, Hardaway.
Coach.
Hi, Marc.
How you doing, Coach? It seemed like 4 years ago, the players certainly were much more vocal about, maybe because we were in a bubble, about the election and voting and whatnot. And while Steph has spoken and you and Pop and Doc have, it appears to be a little bit quieter from the players. I wonder if you think there's any rhyme or reason for that, or any thoughts on maybe why there's not so much push from players, NBA players, as perhaps we heard 4 years ago.
I think these things kind of go in spurts, in waves. Through most of my playing career, athletes didn't really speak out much politically at all. 4 years ago was a very heated time in the country with COVID, with the George Floyd murder. So there's, I think circumstances dictate a lot of that sort of activity, whether it's athletes or young people, and that's kind of the history of our country. Vietnam, it went way up, and that was coming on the heels of the civil rights movement with Kareem and Muhammad Ali and Jim Brown, and there's a big lull, and so I think it's like everything else. It just it kind of comes and goes. I also think there's some fatigue involved. I think at some point people kind of just want to get on with their lives and live their lives, and I think there's a lot of fluctuations because of that.
On the injury front, I know Wiggins is out. Is that concern beyond today? I mean, I know it's a lower back issue.
With Wiggs?
Yeah.
No, we're confident that this won't be long term.
You don't know on his status tomorrow yet, though.
Questionable for tomorrow, but
and then,
he's got a chance to play.
Yeah, on the Melton front, though, obviously he dealt with a back issue pretty much all last season. How much of this is maintenance right now, and how much of this is a concern that it's related to?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a concern given that he came to us with the injury, but we are really making sure that we're being careful with it, and this is all in Rick's hands and the training staff. So it's important early in the season, especially to help him, get off on the right foot. From an injury standpoint, from a health standpoint. So I can't really tell you anything long term, like how concerning it is, but we just know that it's serious enough to give him the next couple of days and then regroup from there.
Hi, Coach. What do you think about Jonathan Kuminga's the last 3 games performance, especially the offensive part? And do you think he can find something like he good at in the Warrior system?
Do I think he can find something that
like he can good at, especially for this Warrior system?
Yeah, I mean, it's 3 games is nothing. I don't ever worry about a small sample size like that. JK had a really good preseason. He'll come around. We're going to need his force, his athleticism, and tonight, could be a big night for him in that regard, depending on how the game plays out. We have obviously played 12 people each game, which means it's going to be a little harder for guys individually to find their rhythm because they're not playing as much. So I'm not worried about JK at all. He'll come around.
Thank you.
Is JK one of those guys who are going to be in the starting lineup?
Possibly. Yeah, he's under consideration for sure. Nice try, though.
When you have a game like this with no Steph and no Wiggins and no Melton, what is the message to the guys in terms of stepping up into larger roles than they normally might?
The message is this is why we have a deep team. This is the point, to be able to withstand injuries and absences. And obviously tonight is pretty extreme to have 2 starters out and a guy who comes off the bench quickly. That's pretty rare, but we feel like we're built for it, but we've got to go prove that.
Hi, Steve. Specifically, Steph and Wiggins out have obviously been effective from three, and you talk a lot about spacing as you contemplate your lineups. How much does that complicate the spacing challenge with your, the best 3-point shooter of all time and a guy who's been shooting well, both out?
It's a major factor for sure. So that's why we're really emphasizing playing fast, being great defensively, so we can get out in transition. The more we get stuck in the half court, like most teams, the harder it is to score, but especially without Steph. So we've got to be really good defensively in order to make up for that, for the spacing issues, and then we've got to find the right combinations, the right lineups.
Steve, what are some of the advantages and maybe disadvantages of playing the same team on a back-to-back like you guys are like this?
I don't know that there's really a major advantage or a disadvantage. I think the advantage for them is our injuries. Sometimes you catch a team back-to-back where guys are missing, and that can be an advantage. But that stuff tends to play itself out over the course of the year. But the scout tomorrow night, we may tweak a couple things based on what happens tonight, and I'm sure they're going to do the same thing. Other than that, I don't think it's either team has a major edge.
Hi, Steve. Steph's generally very engaged when he's not playing or he's hurt or whatever it may be. What do you guys gain, or what do his teammates gain as far as just him visually helping and maybe coaching them up? What do they gain when Steph's on the bench?
He talks to guys on the sidelines, gives them good advice. He's also highly energetic. He has a great way about him, just getting the fans involved, getting the team up. That's part of what makes Steph special is the joy he takes in other success. And so when he's sitting out, you feel that, and that matters.
Hi, Coach. One more question. And on the Sunday night games, I noticed that Stephen Curry, he made his first 3 points. After that, he hold his hand. Is the teams keep an eye on that issues?
So he jammed his finger at the end of training camp and missed our final exhibition game as a result. And he's basically been getting treatment on it and playing through it. But this absence is because of the ankle, but it'll help his finger heal as well.
And I know Curry, Steph's going to miss the next 2 games. You guys are going to reevaluate after the Wednesday? Okay.
Yeah, so after tomorrow night's game, we have Thursday off, practice Friday. We'll reevaluate then.
There was obviously even off-season talk, but of wanting Podziemski to score more, up his scoring. Not averaging a ton right now through 3 games. I mean, where are you at on? I know you love everything else he does, but do you need him to score more?
Those threes they're going to go in. I mean, he shot the ball really well all summer. Put in a ton of work. He's talked about it publicly, wanting to shoot more threes. Sometimes this happens. The first few games you get off to a tough start. It happened to Clay, several times during this last decade where, you get off to a slow start and it kind of snowballs a little bit. And then at some point you kind of go, all right, there's 75 games left. Let me just relax and play and shoot. And I think that's going to happen with BP. I mean, he'll settle in. He's too good of a shooter to not shoot the ball well eventually. So it'll happen. And our team is also, finding its identity, finding itself. And as we go, guys will get more and more comfortable, and that's when they tend to shoot the ball better.
Steve, defensively, what makes the Pelicans such a tough cover as far as their offensive scheme and you guys trying to slow them down or stop them?
Well, they got some great players with Zion and Bi and McCollum and they're also good defensively. So if they're getting steals, they force a lot of turnovers. If they get steals and they're out in transition, you can't stop that. So we've got to make sure we take care of the ball and keep them out of transition. Try to keep them in the half court, and then you game plan for their tendencies and you try to play to guys' weaknesses. But like I said, they got some great players. That's easier said than done. Thanks.
Thank you.